Hello everyone, welcome to week 14 of my NFL predictions. Last week, because I predicted Browns and Rams to tie and that was very wrong, I went 9 and 4. I got the Bengals wrong, and if you watched my video last week, you would know that I was very tempted to pick them, so that's annoying. I got Cardinals wrong, I got Rams wrong, and I got Packers wrong, that's it. Yeah, we did a lot better than I thought we would do against the Cowboys. I'm proud. I'm proud of what we did. Not completely happy with it. I would have liked to win, but I'm not too surprised about the outcome. The Niners smacked the Eagles 42-19. They'll probably do that again in the playoffs. The Chargers Patriots game was, oh god, 6-0. There's also Falcons Jets, which isn't too much better, but at least both teams scored. The Colts Titans game was very intense. Came down to overtime as well. There was like two plays, like back-to-back plays where Colts like pick six and then they went for a 2-point conversion, and then the Titans intercepted that for a pick six. Something like that. It was a crazy game. But we move on to week 14 and start with, oh, for crying out loud, Thursday night, Patriots at Steelers. The Steelers struggled last week, but that may have come down to Pickett being injured. I mean, the Cardinals still played decently. I have to give them some credit. The Steelers defense is still, it's still there. It's still there. Their offense can be really, really good. Meanwhile, the Patriots, they have nothing. They have nothing at all. No good quarterbacks. Not really any defense. I mean, maybe it was okay against the Chargers, but I mean, the Chargers haven't really been that good all season, and they still lost. They lost to 2 field goals. Their offense is atrocious. I'm gonna pick the Steelers. I don't think that's really a surprising, surprising take to that, but the Patriots just aren't good in any way, really. I don't know if they'll even get another win this season. They might get lucky and might win against like the Jets again, but no, I don't think so. So I'm gonna go with Steelers. The next game is the Jaguars at the Browns. This game is heavily dependent on how serious Trevor Lawrence's injury is from last night's game against Cincinnati. But even with him being injured, they took it down to the wire. It went into overtime, and Bengals just managed to win. Now, I still think that Bengals, even without Joe Burrow, like I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they're a complete pushover either. But the Jags need to start racking up more wins because the Colts and Texans are breathing down their neck, and they are coming for the title of the AFC South. So I think the Jags might be more competitive, but I'm gonna go for I think an upset. I'm gonna pick the Browns. They've they've been very iffy about their team, like their specifically their defense, because some games they'll just do really well and hold them to really really low scores, and they'll get a ton of sacks, or they'll just concede like 30 points. I think the Browns can bounce back after last week. They've struggled in the past few weeks, but I think this one they'll get back. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jags win, and if Trevor Lawrence is back, then I would pick the Jags. I don't know if he's going to be out for this game or not. I'm going to pick the Browns. Next game is the Texans at the Jets. The Jets are bad. They're really bad. Their defense is great. And their offense, it has talent, but they just can't do anything. They can't get it together. Zach Wilson doesn't even want to start. He was told that he would be starting, but he's like hesitant to do it. And that's concerning, considering he was benched. When one of your benched players, supposed starter before Aaron Rodgers got injured, got benched and then says that he doesn't want to start, that's when you know you're doing something wrong. They're 4-8 now. Meanwhile, the Texans keeping a close game with the Broncos, but they managed to get the win with an interception in the end zone. So defense is really good. Unfortunately, Tank Dell is out for the season. And that is a massive blow to Houston's offense. Tank Dell was playing really, really well. His connection with CJ Stroud was amazing. But I still think they'll manage to pull off the win. I think they have a more solid team than the Jets overall. I think Jets might have more overall talent, but the Texans are better connected. I think they'll be better than the Jets on that day. So I'm going to go with Texans. The next game is the Colts at the Bengals. Both these teams getting overtime wins last week. Both teams are pretty underrated at the moment. Specifically the Colts. No one is talking about them, but they're 7-5. They're in their own playoff spot. So I think like when Anthony Richardson comes back, I think they can get a couple consistent winning records over the next few years. I think they'll be contesting with Houston and Jacksonville for that division title. But they have got really decent talent. The Bengals making a close game with the Jags, as I said just not too long ago. But their quarterback did surprisingly well. I think he's thrown for the most yards this week. I think it was like 354. So the Bengals aren't to be underestimated. But I am gonna pick the Colts here. I think I might pick the Colts for the next few games because they've been surprising a lot of people, and I have trust in them. I have more trust in them than I do the Bengals at the moment. If the Bengals pick it up a bit more, maybe I'll start trusting them a bit more as well. But for now, I'm going with Indianapolis. The next game is the Rams at the Ravens. The Ravens are coming off of a bye week. One of 6 teams to go on a bye last week, and they're going to be hosting the Rams, who beat the Browns 36-19. So the Rams they're pretty decent. They are, I think, one away from a playoff spot at the moment. They're just above us and below Green Bay, who is now in a playoff spot. When the hell did the Packers get in the playoffs? But the Rams are in the top half of the NFC, just about, but they're still there. Their receivers are really good. Nakua, Kupp, Atwell. And Stafford's been playing pretty good recently as well. Their defense is doing okay. Their run game is scary. Meanwhile, the Ravens, overall, I think they just have one of the best teams in the league. I think they can definitely go to the conference championship. I'm not sure if they'll be able to go Super Bowl or not. But with the way the AFC teams are playing at the moment, they might be the only choice because no one else would be able to. No one else seems as likely to make it as the Ravens do. Not even the Chiefs. I have more trust in the Ravens. I think they have the most complete team, both offensively and defensively. Not to mention they've got one of the best kickers as well in Justin Tucker. So overall, Ravens are better. They're at home as well, coming off a bye week. I think they'll be refreshed and ready to beat the Rams. The next game is the Buccaneers at the Falcons. I've trusted the Bucks a few times this season, and at the moment they're starting to slip off a bit. They have been a little disappointing to me, unfortunately. And the Falcons are now king of the dumpster fire at the moment. I think overall, Falcons don't have quite as much talent as the Bucks do, but the Falcons are winning games. They haven't lost a divisional game yet this season. I am going to pick the Falcons to win. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks won, but the Bucks are just seeming way too inconsistent. I think they need a new head coach. I think that will improve them massively. But for now, they're stuck with Todd Bowles, and I think they'll be stuck on a bit of a losing streak at some point as well. They've already gone on a streak of losing 4, and they might go on another one. As a Bucks fan, I'd be nervous. The next game is the Lions at the Bears. The Bears are also coming off of a bye week, and they are hosting the Lions. The Lions defense doesn't know what it wants to do. Does it want to be good? Does it want to be bad? At the start of the season, they were doing really well, but since they played the Ravens, it's been lackluster to say the least. Nearly let the Saints make a comeback against them last week, and this is the Saints that's not supposed to really have a good offense. They have had a really good offense for like a couple games this season, but they were getting demolished in like the first half, and then the Lions defense just letting them come back with 28 points by the end of it, and winning by 5. That's concerning. And with the home field advantage and the bye week, I'm going to pick the Bears to win this. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions did win, but I reckon if the Lions won, it wouldn't be close. If it's close, then I think the Bears will win. I've just not got a lot of trust in the Lions right now. I still think they're going to win their division, but the rest of their division seems to be creeping up as well, especially for those playoff spots. They're making it competitive, so I'm going to go with Chicago. The next game is the Panthers at the Saints. I think they played each other in week 2 on a Monday night game, and I predicted the Panthers to win, and I got that wrong. So I'm going to try that again. I'm going to pick the Panthers. They made it close and competitive against the Buccaneers, which isn't saying much since it's Tampa, but they've got to win at least one more game this season. And I reckon, if any, it will be against the Saints. The Saints have been a little lackluster. They don't have that many good players at the moment. They've been struggling a bit. Nearly made a comeback against the Lions, but as I said, that's more on the Lions defense rather than Saints offense. So I'm going to go for another upset here. I think this is my 3rd upset behind Bears and Browns. I'm going to go with the Panthers. The next game, a battle of 2 teams coming off a bye week. The Vikings at the Raiders. Both these teams are having decent defenses, to be fair. I think the Vikings have a better defense. But I think this will come down to the offenses. And right now, I think the Vikings had the better offense. I think they lost their last 2 games before going on their bye week. But I think this bye has been crucial to them. I think it will show to be critical. I think they'll come back stronger, or at least stronger than they were in the last 2 games they played. And the Raiders, this is the Raiders. I don't trust them like at all. I trust the Vikings a lot more. I'm gonna go with the Vikings. The next game, oh god, it's the Seahawks at the 49ers. I don't need to dwell on this, there's not much to be said. I'm picking the 49ers. They're absolute monsters right now. They're tearing up so many teams. And while the Seahawks played decently against the Cowboys, they still didn't win. They got close, but Dallas just outscored us. The 49ers, I reckon, are going to rip us apart. And we just got to get through this stretch, because this will be the 4th out of our 5 tough game stretch that we've got. Second time playing the Niners in 3 weeks. That's concerning as well. I think the Niners are going to destroy us, so I'm going 49ers. The next game is the Bills at the Chiefs. The Chiefs, I believe, have lost their last 2 games? I don't remember who they lost to before this, but I know that they lost to the Packers. Who did they lose to before? I actually don't remember. Because I know they lost to the Lions at the start of the season. Then they lost to the Broncos. Oh right, Eagles. Yeah, it was Eagles. I think the Eagles was the team that they played before the Packers. So I think that's 2 in a row that they've lost. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's the case. Even so, they lost 2 of their last recent games. And the Bills, when they played against the Eagles, their offense was coming to life. There is a spark there that just needs ignition. It needs to be rekindled. I think if they can bring that spark back out against the Chiefs, they can win. I think this bye week is going to do exactly that, and I'm going to say the Chiefs lose 3 in a row. I'm going to pick the Bills. I don't trust either team. I might trust the Chiefs a bit more. Maybe they just won't lose 3 in a row. But right now, I think the Bills have something to prove. I think they'll be able to prove it. And I think it will really set the standard, especially considering the Chiefs have a decent defense. So, go with the Bills, but I've not got too much faith. The next game is the Broncos at the Chargers. The Chargers could not score more than 6 points, 2 field goals, against the Patriots. Granted, even with a defense like the Chargers defense, they still managed to shut out the Patriots, but that's not saying much. That's like the Chargers defense is bad, but the Pats offense is even worse. Meanwhile, the Broncos they've been riding on a high, no pun intended, recently. They're on a 5-game win streak. They started 1-5, went on the 5-game win streak, and then, like most other teams this season that have had a 5-game win streak, they lost. But I think the Broncos are better than the Chargers at the moment. They have found what they need to do, and they're doing it. And they're doing it well. Russell Wilson is starting to return to his MVP form. The offense is doing pretty good. The defense is also doing really well. They lost a shootout last week against the Texans because of an interception in the end zone, which they would have won if it wasn't for that. But I think they'll get the win here against the Chargers. I honestly would be quite surprised if the Chargers did win, but it's a divisional match. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because anything can happen in divisional matches, especially. Speaking of divisional matches, the Sunday night game is the Eagles at the Cowboys. The Cowboys are looking seemingly better each week, except for when they played us. And I say that because they let us score a lot of points. And our offense has been struggling so far this season. We've had little glimpses of what it can do and the fact that it can be elite. But there has been some weak points that teams have been exploiting tremendously. The Cowboys for some reason didn't do that. But last time I played the Eagles, They made that close, so they can do well against good teams. Even if it's barely beating them if they have a winning record. Meanwhile, the Eagles, coming off a loss to the Niners, they got destroyed by them, and to be honest, I'm not surprised. The Eagles have been looking like they were holding on by a thread for so long, and the Niners just cut that thread loose. I think the cat's out of the bag. I think the Eagles are going to start picking up more losses, and I think they're going to lose this one against the Cowboys. The Cowboys are at home, and they are out for revenge against Philadelphia. And based on what the standings would look like, if the Cowboys did beat the Eagles, they're not just coming for revenge, they're coming for the division. So I think Eagles better watch out. I'm going for an upset with the Cowboys, and we'll see what happens. The next game is the Titans at the Dolphins. The Titans just aren't looking as good as they should do. They might need a bit more on the offense, maybe to do with the O-line, maybe it's to do with the receivers, maybe it's their defense. I don't know. I don't watch much Titans games. But they're not gonna be prepared for facing off against Miami, one of the best teams in the league, one of the best in the AFC as well. Current number 1 seed. Not to mention that Tua and Tyreek Hill is an elite combo. Tyreek Hill just being a cheat code pretty much. They've got a very speed-based team, and I don't think Tennessee's going to be ready. Tennessee might need to just hope that Derrick Henry can return to his old form, but I don't think that's going to happen ever again, to be honest. I don't think they'll be able to stop Miami. I think the Dolphins are going to get the win and retain their number 1 seed. And the last game, which is the second Monday night game after Titans-Dolphins, is the Packers at the Giants. The Packers are starting to build up a bit of a win streak, with their latest win coming against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and that's a pretty big win for them. They're now in a playoff position, and they plan to keep it. The Giants, they're coming off a bye week, and they're at home, and for the two teams, I have twice picked the team that was coming off a bye week and hosting, and the other team is also coming off a bye week, which is why I didn't pick Raiders. Well, it's not actually why, but you get the idea. But like Ravens, they're coming off a bye week and their opponent isn't, they're at home. So are the Bears. But that cycle breaks here because I think the Packers are a better team. They're going for revenge after what happened in London last year, with the Giants surprising everyone by getting the win. Well, not surprising everyone, but surprising a few people, because that was when they showed that they were actually a good team then, which they're not really now. They've got Tommy DeVito as their quarterback, and he's been okay. Because I think people are thinking, there are some people I think who are thinking, oh my god, the Giants are actually doing decent again. Maybe they can start getting more wins. They played the Commanders, who they'd already beaten earlier in the season. And they played the Patriots, who might be the worst team in the entire league. The Packers are a much stronger threat than both Washington and New England. I think they'll prove that against the Giants. So I'm going to pick the Packers to win. That's going to do it for my Week 14 predictions. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your predictions in the comments. Go Hawks, and until next time, goodbye and have a nice day.